Hi lovies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Roxanne Simone. In today's video, I'll be giving you a detailed tutorial on how we created this beautiful look. It's summer approved, sweat approved, most of all date night approved. This eye look, pretty simple. Walk you through step by step. Without further yapping, let's hop into the video. Hi lovies, so the goal for today is to do a full face, sweat proof, summer proof, date night ready. Let's get into it. It's all dependent on your skin prep. So I can give you a workaround for most things, but for skin prep, I can't give you a workaround. So one of my favorites, you can use a regular moisturizer, but I swear by Danessa's stuff. So yeah, I can't find a dupe for her stuff. I'm sorry, I just can't. So this is a 1010 barrier boost, and I just use this so my face is freshly washed. And I use this as my moisturizer. And when applying any product at all, you want to allow it to dry down before you go in with the next product. So that is just to make the skin plump and juicy. I have combination skin, but in summertime, I get really oily, like right here in my T-zones. So this makeup tutorial would be perfect for people with combination skin or oily skin. If you need me to make a tutorial for someone with dry skin, I can do that, but I'm not necessarily dry, maybe in the winter time. So this is the water powder serum. This stuff is like, it's like drugs. What I do, I apply this to my T-zone, and is a mattifying primer, and it just gets the job done. And again, you want to allow each step to dry down before you go in with any product at all. So while that is drying down, or it's basically dry, this is a step I really never miss out, is under eye cream. I just apply a pea-size amount. It doesn't have to be anyone specific. This is the Abib. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I just apply like less than a pea-size amount just underneath my eyes, because if you tend to get if your makeup tends to separate or crack underneath your eyes, it might be it's too dry and you add too much product and it's just going to separate some more. So after moisturizing and apply my first layer of primer, I'm going to go ahead and use this is another product I cannot give you a dupe for because there's none. It's the Danessa Yummy Skin Blurring Balm, and it's in the shade Translucent, and I just use this. This is just another layer, and I promise you, with all these steps, your makeup ain't gonna move. Okay, so I did get asked a couple of times about tutorial, so let's give you one. What I like to use, I like to have my eyebrows laid down flat. Before doing any brow tutorial, I would recommend you get your eyebrows groomed. Like me right now, I kind of patched it out right here. Don't be like me. Get it done professionally. If you can do it yourself, save some coin. I like to go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's the Brow Freeze. And I like to use, it's not a spoolie, but it's something like a spoolie. It's a Morphe M625 Brow brush. So it has a flat end and then it has something like a spoolie. So I dip it in, and what I like to do, I just comb it through my brow hairs just to have everybody kind of going in the same direction. Again, whatever product you see me use, you don't have to use it. Just get one similar or something that's going to do basically the same thing. So just pressing my hairs down like this. And I do allow it to get tacky or dry a bit. And then I'm going to press it out again with my fingers. Just like so. Because I like them laid down. Now, if you do have full brows like me, you'll probably have to do a little bit more than what I'm doing. But the technique is basically the same. What I like to use is the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen. It gives very fine hair-like strokes. This is what it looks like. And what I do, I focus on the end. I focus on the tail of my brow. So for me, I did kind of chop a piece out. So what I'm going to do is just fill that in. And I like to extend the tip of my brow. I just extend it a little bit. And wherever I might have some sparse here, I don't fill the front. Now, if you, on the other hand, you have very sparse brows or non-existent brows, this is still perfect. What you're going to do, follow the shape of your eyebrows. If you want to give yourself a different shape, that's fine. If that works for you, fine. what I like to do is follow the shape of my brow, and that's what you'd want to do as well. And you make very thin hair-like strokes. Again, I'm not going to really touch the front because I'm not trying to make a box brow. And I do the same thing on the other side. Your eyebrows are sisters, they're not twins. They can even be distant cousins, but you don't need to make them perfect. Just try to make them as close as possible. Again, makeup doesn't have to be perfect, and this is just what they look like outlined. And this is why I say try to have your eyebrows groomed, because this saves you so much time. If you don't have a brush like that, like this, it's fine. You use a spoolie, and what I do is I use it just to kind of buff or blend that product that I just applied. So the brow pen is a little bit on the darker side. I use shade Espresso, and I just use this to buff the eyebrow, just so that there are no harsh lines. And this is what the eyebrows look. They look so neat already. Again, I have full brows, so they're gonna be bam in your face. There are different shades that you can use. This is probably the second to darkest shade, so you don't have to use that. Next step in doing my eyebrows, I like to use 2 different shades of concealers. One that's extremely light, maybe 3 to 4 shades lighter, and then 1 to 2 shades lighter. 1 to 2 shades lighter. The lightest shade is to use on the tail end of my eyebrow. I'm going to demonstrate. The darkest shade is to have right here. So it's going to create a gradient effect. So the one at the beginning of the brow, and the lighter shade, the dark one at the beginning of the brow, and the light shade at the tail end of the brow. You need a flat brush. This brush, you can use any flat concealer brush, but this is my favorite, the Morphe M224 brush. This is what she looks like. And a palette. You can use the back of your hand, but I'm not trying to make more mess. So I just apply the product onto the palette, both shades. I'm going to start with the lighter shade first, and this is to clean up the tail portion of my brow. You're going to coat both sides of the brush, looking like this. And what you're going to do, this is steady hand, so I'm not going to talk. I'm going to follow the outline of my brow. So with steady hands, just like that. And then whatever product is left, you blend it out. Now with the darker shade, I'm going to go on the front portion of my brow. And just take your time. And this is how we get a very crisp, clean eyebrow. And then you want to just use a dense brush just to buff the edges out. Just to buff. And whatever is left, I just bring this down, and this works as a primer, eyeshadow primer for whatever product you plan to put on later. And yeah, that's how you get a good brow. So we are doing a full glam face. A step that I never ever miss is color correcting, because as you can see, I have hyperpigmentation on the majority of my face. But the places that I like to focus on is right around my mouth, under my eye, to hide in bags, and I do a little bit of spot correcting, just like this. And the product that I'm using is the Kosas color corrector. It has a very long name, but it's the Kosas color corrector, and it's in the shade Alchemy. The brush that I'm going to use to buff this out is a Jessup. It's a concealer. It's a 142 concealer buffer brush. And what I do, I just take this and I buff right under my eye, just to buff the product out. It dries down matte, so it's not like you have to set it, so it's not going to mix with the remainder of the product. And if you want to have a flawless full coverage base, you just spend your time and apply the product. You don't have to, I do hope you have time to do all of this, but just take your time and blend all those edges. I'm pulling out the big dogs. So this is one of my favorite high-end foundation. This is the Natasha Denona High Glam Foundation. This is in shade NP14. And how I like to apply my foundation. And as you can see, my face looks crazy now, but color correcting is key to getting a flawless base. How I like to apply my product, try to shake it because I haven't used it in a bit. And what I'm going to do is squeeze, maybe let's start with 2 to 3 3 pumps. This should cover my entire face. And then what I'm going to use is a flat concealer brush. I like to apply my foundation with a flat brush because I like to spread it evenly in thin layers instead of just pumping it on my face, because I'm not trying to waste product. And I do feel like that was a bit much. But this is how I like to apply my foundation, just in thin layers. And just coat my face and work in small sections. Now, what I'm going to use to blend this out is a foundation brush. This is one of my favorites. It's the BK Beauty 101 brush. And what I'm going to do is use this to press it into the skin. And as you can see, I laid it in flat layers and it spreads so evenly on the skin. Now, are you seeing the coverage we're getting from this foundation? In 2 places, I'm filming for TikTok and I'm filming for YouTube. Who would have thought? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And buff this. So when applying your foundation, if it's streaky or blotchy, the first culprit might be your skin prep. So maybe you didn't skin prep properly, and I showed you all the steps you needed to follow to get a seamless skin prep. The other culprit might be that your brush is dirty. If you're using dirty brushes, your product won't spread evenly into that brush and it's going to be streaky. So and don't forget your neck, because some of you keep forgetting that your face doesn't go down all the way to your neck. And then just buff everything into place and blend it downwards so that you're not missing anything. As you can see, this is a perfect base. Don't come for me. And we are doing a full glam face, so we want it to be sculpted. Seeing as this is flat, we want to bring back dimension and shape into the face. So naturally we have shadows. Naturally we have shadows like your cheekbones, that 5 head, nose contour. What I like to use to contour is the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Bronzer and Contour. This is in shade Deep Rich, and this is how I like to apply my contour. So naturally, we want to snatch that cheekbone and jawline. So how I like to apply it is not too high up and not too low down. It's like in the middle of your cheekbone. A couple dots like so, and then on the hairline, whatever you do on one side, you try to mimic it on the other. Down the bridge of the nose. You're going to blend this out. So what I like to use to blend this out is an angled dense brush. I got this off Shein. And when blending out your contour, you want to stipple in place. And that's what we're doing right now. We're just stippling in place. Just like so. And again, contour mimics shadows and creates dimension in the face. Blend out the bridge of the nose. There's actually no direct step that you have to follow when doing makeup. It's just that if you have a specific routine, it becomes so easy. For me, I like to put my blush on before concealer. The blush that I'm going to be using today is the LYS. It's a stick blush. This is called Bubbly. This is in the shade Bubbly. This is what she looks like. And this is like how I like to apply my blush. So I apply it almost at the end of my eye to the tail of my eyebrow. This is how I like to apply. It almost acts as a color corrector as well. And what I'm going to use to blend this out is a dense angled brush. So this, just to stipple it, so I blend it and bring it up under my eye just like this. And I bring it out to my hairline. Do I have blush blindness? Maybe. Do I care? No. You do whatever it is you want to do. This is such a pretty shade. Was I under a rock? But look at that. Now this step will either make or break you. What I like to do is use 2 different shades of concealer. I'm using the House Labs Triclone Skin Tech Concealer, and this is in shade 40 Medium Deep Golden. So what I like to do is, this is how I like to apply my concealer. Whenever I'm applying cream products, I like to apply them in a way that it gives my face, you know, like a natural facelift. So I apply it to the outer portion of my eye, and whatever you do on one side, try to do it on the next. Just like so. down the bridge of the nose. So what we're doing right now, we're highlighting. So wherever the light would naturally hit your face, that's what we want to do. We want to bring light back to our face. So we did our contour. And I like to do a little bit of reverse contouring. So a little bit under where I contoured my face. Just a little bit. And I'm still going to use the same shade right here. And that's an elite concealer placement. Now, for my second portion, I like a bright under eye. You can skip this step, but we're going full beat. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Concealer. This is in the shade 9 Tan. This is what she looks like. And I like to apply this right in the inner portion of my eye, because we like a bright under eye. Just like so. You get a lot of under eye creasing. I would recommend you allow your products to sit a bit before you buff them out. Like with concealer, if you can't sit for a bit, at least use a fan to help you dry it down. If your concealer is too wet, it's going to be too much product to set, because if it's too damp and you set it, it's more likely to actually give you separation and cracks. So I allow it to marinate for a bit. To use to buff out my concealer is like an angled concealer brush. This is the BK Beauty A506 brush. What you want to use is fast tapping motion just to buff this into the skin where I had my reverse contour. I'm going to do the same thing. And when you're blending out cream products, you don't want to swipe. You want to buff it on spot, because we don't want to spread it and add it to everything else, because we're not trying to create mud. And blend that out. Go ahead and blend out that concealer that's on the bridge of the nose. And as you can see, I'm using like very light tapping motion. Blend out the forehead, in my case, a 5 head. And what I'm going to blend out first is the outer portion of the concealer. So you just want to use like tapping motion just to blend that product out. Just like so. And as you can see, I'm allowing this inner portion just to sit for a bit. Once you've blended all your contour, your blush, and your concealer, you want to go ahead and use your foundation brush. This barely has any product on it. Buff it into the skin, just like so. So before I start to blend the bright portion of my eye, you want to prep in terms of getting your setting powder, because this, you need to go, don't want to say move fast, but you want to make sure you follow every step just to ensure you have a seamless under eye. My favorite powder to use is the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. If it's not broken, why fix it? I've used so many, but I always go back to the oldie but goodie. A powder puff, so a triangular powder puff. I dab it into just like so, and this is just me prepping it. Scrape off the excess, and then I buff. I want to make sure that the product is evenly spread on the powder puff. So this under eye did sit for a bit, so what we're going to do is go ahead and use that concealer brush. You want to go ahead and take your time just to buff it. You're not trying to spread it, because we're creating a bright under eye, but we don't want the entire thing to be bright. Just take your time and blend on spot. And again, because you did allow this to sit for a bit, you're going to get the best payoff, the best coverage, and minimal creasing, because you did allow it to dry down. Whenever you put your concealer down and you want to blend it right out, don't come for me. You did not allow it to sit. And I just like to spread whatever extra is there on the eye. Whatever extra I do have, I just bring it up on my lid. This creates a perfect base for your eyeshadow if you are going to wear eyeshadow. There is absolutely no creasing. If you do see creasing, you want to blend it out, because if you set it, that's going to be a set creased eye, baby. And that's not what we're trying to achieve. And again, go ahead and use your foundation brush just to buff that in. So look at that under eye. Perfect. I know. You're going to go ahead with your powder puff with that powder. And whatever you do on one side, you do it on the other. And baby, that's a set under eye. We do like a matte face over here, so the same translucent powder It gives no flashback, so that's why I do recommend it. I just lightly use a little, like, I lightly use some of the same powder just to set the remainder of my face. Again, before you do this, you do want to ensure that you buff all those edges out so you don't have any harsh lines. And this is what it looks like, really, after you've set the entire face. I like to use it down the bridge of my nose as well, just so the face is supposed to look chalky when you're done, like if you're at this step. So that's a set face. So for every cream product, you want to go in with the marrying powder product, if that makes sense. So for contour, for my liquid contour, I'm going to set it because this face is supposed to be sweat proof. So we want to allow each product to have longer wear. So the longevity of the product is in you layering. So I did cream contour. So we're going to go and set that cream contour with powder. This is the Rare Beauty Radiant Warmth Soft Matte Powder Bronzer. This is, yeah, shade Radiant Warmth. The brush that I'm using is a fluffy angled brush, and this is the BK Beauty A507 brush. Any brush that you see me use, more than likely it's on my Amazon storefront. So I just lightly tap it into the product, kind of buff it on my hand because I don't want to go in with too much. It's always better to go in with a little than to go in with a lot. And just use that to buff it into where you had your contour, just like that. And then the hairline, do not forget that hairline. Now, even though we're doing a full glam, we can still make the eye look not too complicated. It's gonna give glam, it's gonna give date night, but it doesn't need to be complicated. What I'm gonna use is eyeshadow. This is like an eyeshadow pencil. So this is a eyeshadow pencil. This one's discontinued, but NYX I think has one. I'll put it on the screen. NYX has one. This is in a very deep brown shade. So we're kind of going for a dark kind of brown smoky eye. So I'm just going to use this to spread it on my lid. And again, even though this is not the exact one you might find because it is discontinued, this is what I'm using as a base. So I'm going in with a base, and then I'm going to use a fluffy eyeshadow brush just to blend the edges out. And already we have such an easy look. This is a vibe by itself. Whenever you're doing a smoky eye, you want to go a little bit above your crease, but not too close to your eyebrow, because we're not trying to look like raccoons. And if you do go too high, you will look like a raccoon. But as you can see, this by itself is definitely a vibe, just like this. If it's one thing I'm gonna do is try a new blush. I'm very late to this party, but Juvia's Place dropped some new blushes or blush palettes. This is Volume 1 Blush and Bronze, straight out the pack, and this is what she looks like. Come on, this shade right here first. If one thing we know Juvia's is good for is pigment. Yeah. That was a bit much, Roxanne. Just want to buff the edge out. And then I want to go in with maybe this one. No, we're pushing it. Maybe this one. It's like a plum shade. And just to add it just here. Go in with a little instead of going in with a lot. Don't be like me. And I'm so fascinated by these new palettes because for the price, I don't remember what I paid, but it was less than $30. And you get so much because these pans, they're big. This is my head. And it's as tall as my head. And then, yeah, a win is a win. She's gorgeous. Okay, so I did say this is going to be one of the easiest looks that you could do because I'm not doing a technical eyeshadow look. One of my favorite liners to use. So I'm going to make a wing. I'm using the Sephora Collection liquid eyeliner. First, you make a straight line. And then you want to join. Okay, one of the best eyeliners, jet black eyeliners to use. It's the Sephora Collection eyeliner. It is waterproof, and this is in black lace. To apply my eyeliner, I use like a powder puff just to kind of bring my eyelid, my lower lid down a bit. I want to buff this out just a little bit to shadow, because why not? And this is just to blend like the edge of that black that I just put down, because I always like to add color. I'm gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills this palette, and this is the Novel this palette. A lighter color, so I like just here. So for date night, I'm never in between. I'm either really subtle or really bold, and since I have a pop of color on my eyes, I want to go pretty simple with my lips. I'm gonna use the Stay Cute Cosmetics lip liner. This is in the shade Chocolate. It's a very rich dark brown shade. And I like to do this. It just blends the lines just a little bit. And another oldie but goodie is the Fenty Stunner Lip Paint, and this is in the shade Unbutton. It's like my favorite nude shade. And then I lightly tap my lips together. Stay Cute Cosmetics gloss, and this is in the shade Crush. Oh, that is so pretty. And a spray, I keep going back. So after everything is laid down, you do want to set it. And what I like to use to set my face is the Morphe Life Proof Continuous Setting Mist. With the name Life Proof, obviously, you know it's going to last all night, all day. So to spray my face, everything is already set. Oh, God, I got my hair. Did I get my hair? I try to avoid getting my hair wet. Hi Lovies, so we've made it to the end of the video. I hope it was easy for you to follow along. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask down below in the comments. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn your notification on so you know whenever I upload a future video. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Have some fun. Don't you show it.